Hello everybody and welcome to this week's video. Of course, it is my September wrap up. We are in the first week of October. You guys know what this means, you know the drill. We're going to be talking about all the books that I read last month, and actually it wasn't that many. By my standards, it wasn't that many. Like, I think I read 17 books in August and I only read 11 in September, which is not bad. And as I keep mentioning in all of my videos, I am now working again, which means I do not have the time to read 17 books. So I think I did well for working a 5-day job again. Which for those of you who don't know, I haven't worked a 5-day week in over a year because I went part-time at my old job and then I was kind of unemployed for 2 months. Like, I had a job lined up but it didn't start until September, so I count that as being unemployed. So it's weird to be back at work. It's really weird. But 11 books. Let's talk about the ones that I don't have physically first, and then we will go through the ones that I do have. So my books I don't have physically tend to be ARCs or books that I read and I didn't like or I DNF'd, so have unhauled them immediately. I do not like books sitting on my shelf that I don't like. So if I give something a 3-star or below, depending on the 3-star, because not all 3 stars are the same, it's going. And I've actually got 2 more books lined up here that are gonna go. I'm in a real, like, I just got Vinted, so I'm in a real selling all my things kind of mood. We'll see if I regret that. So far I haven't, but books that I have read and I have unhauled include Hemlock and Silver, which is the new T. Kingfisher fantasy. It is like a Snow White retelling, and I just didn't gel with it at all, which is weird because I loved Paladin's Grace, which is the only other T. Kingfisher book I've read. But Hemlock and Silver was just not for me. So I ended up DNFing that, and I did sell it pretty much immediately. It is gone now. I don't have it. But I DNF'd that. I always make sure I get to at least page 100 because then I count it towards my reading goal, and I feel like I've given the book a fair enough go. Like, if you're at 100 pages in and you're not liking it, put it down. You don't need to read it, you know? So DNF'd that one and got rid of it. I read the ARC Falling Like Leaves, and it was just too young for me. Like, it's a YA. I knew it was a YA going in, but it just felt like the lower end of YA to me. So again, I got to about page 100, DNF'd that. Just wasn't for me. What else have I not got with me? Okay, another ARC I read is You Make It Feel Like Christmas, which I did like, but I didn't love. So the first 50% of the book was really fun, like very Christmassy, very like everyone's family is there, very fun, you know, it's sexy, you know, the spice, all the good things. And then the second 50% hit, and it was like that awkward week between Christmas and New Year's when nothing's really happening, and I didn't like that so much. So it's a 3-star. I enjoyed it. I would recommend it if you want something Christmassy and you like hockey. There's a hockey element to this, but for me personally, wasn't anything special, and I'm not going to be picking up a physical copy of that. I think the final book I don't have physically is another ARC, which is A Lot to Unpack by Portia McIntosh. I really like Portia McIntosh. This is the 3rd book I've read by her. They are very fun, easy, quick reads, which again, absolutely love. So I gave this one a 3.5. If I see it in the works for a discounted price, I will pick it up. But I looked on Waterstones and the paperback is £25. I'm not paying that much. I've read it. I don't need a copy that badly that I'm going to spend £25 on it. So I liked it. I would recommend it. It is following... what's the best way to say? It's following Liberty, who has a really shitty breakup right at the start of the book. We know that, that's the setup, it's on the blurb. And she ends up having to leave her job because of it, and all sorts of really horrible things happen. And then she gets a new job and she kind of starts falling for the boss. That's what I'm going to say. And there's travel involved, hence the title, A Lot to Unpack. I really enjoyed it. I do recommend it. I think it's going to be on Kindle Unlimited. I feel like a lot of Portia McIntosh is on Kindle Unlimited. So definitely check it out if you have the opportunity to. But moving on to books that I do have physically, we are starting with Slaying the Shadow Prince by Helen Shearer. This is the prequel book to The Legends of Thesmar, and I was reading that in the emotional impact order as recommended by the author, and I didn't love it. I kind of remember absolutely nothing about it as well, so it will surprise no one when I say this is one of the books I will be getting rid of. I gave it a 3, which again is not bad, but when the other books in the Legends of Thesmar series are like 5 stars, I don't need this. And it's a bigger paperback because it's indie published, and no, ugly on my shelf in the middle of this series that I'm reading. So I'm not going to read it again. If I feel inclined to, it is on Kindle Unlimited, so I don't feel bad that this is going to be up on my Vinted. Probably when you see this it will still be there, so maybe I'll link it in the description if anyone is interested. But again, ta-da. This basically follows, I've already forgotten everyone's names. This follows Drew, who is like rebelling. She's not like other girls. She wants to wield weapons, which very similar setup to Blood and Steel. However, Drew does not have any of the character traits that are likable or fun and interesting like any of the characters in Blood and Steel have, and there's no fun side characters. Like, the side characters in The Legends of Thesmar are my favourite part so far, but this just didn't have any of that, and I didn't really feel for the romance. It was just a bit So 3 stars, unfortunately the lower end of that, so I will be unhauling this pretty imminently. I don't know why I held on to it for this long, because as I said, I'm literally just selling everything and anything right now, but I felt like I needed to like think about it before I got rid of a book that ties into a series I'm still currently reading, but I've decided it's going. Then the next book, I'm so excited to talk about this, is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I buddy read this with Beth, and oh my fucking god, I'm never going to show this clip online, but I have a time lapse of my reaction to the ending of this book, and my god, am I an ugly crier. It was not attractive. It was actually horrendous to watch back, but I did send it to multiple people, so it's funny to look at. This is just incredible. That's what it is. It's incredible. Again, I need to remind myself of character names because I'm terrible. But this follows Joan, who wants to be an astronaut, so she's in training for this. We kind of get like a flash forward moment from 1984 and then the flashback in the years building up to this climactic moment. And it's LGBTQ+, which I loved. That was unexpected as well. So sorry if I've just spoiled that for you, but I feel like everyone knows this because all of my book club and people were talking about it. So I think it's common knowledge. And it's just so beautiful. It's so beautifully done. You get, obviously, relationships, romantic relationships, that's what they're called. And you get familial relationships between Joan and her sister and her niece. I love the niece so much. She's so cute. And friendships with the other astronaut trainees. It's just absolutely everything I could have wanted in a book and more. So I gave this a 5-star. In fact, it is my second 6-star read of the year. My first is up here, Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. Big fan of that one. But this is up there. This is like my second best read of the year as far as I'm concerned. So absolutely love this. Highly recommend it. I need to read more Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was my first one as well. My first ever Taylor Jenkins Reid book, and it was a 6 fucking star. I'm so happy. Then we have got, I've changed the cover around on this to match all my other ones, but we have got Fearful by Lauren Roberts. This is the final novella in the Powerless trilogy, which is now 5 books long because of the novellas. I was not a fan of this. This does actually say, what did I even rate this? I gave it a 3-star. I actually think I would give it a 2-star. And I'm bumping it up because I love the rest of the series. But I didn't enjoy this at all. I think it was completely unnecessary. I think this is an unpopular opinion, but I think this was completely unnecessary. Unlike Powerful, the other novella, which was so beautiful and insightful, and it felt like something that was just right that we got to read that. This I didn't feel the same for. I'm going to audiobook it because I ran out of credits on Audible, so I didn't get to listen to the audiobook like I'd done for the entire rest of the series. So I'm going to audiobook it and reread it. And maybe that will change my mind because I didn't read any of the other books in the series physically. This is the only one I read physically, and it's the only one that I've rated 2-star. The rest like 4 and above. So didn't really love this. I can't say too much about it either because it's the end of a series. So I don't know. If you've read this and you have a strong opinion on it, please let me know, because I do think I'm in the minority saying I didn't like this and I would have preferred if we went without. But I will say I love the art on the reversible dust jacket, and I will show you as well the absolutely stunning foiled hardback on this. So I love the physical book. I do not love the story within, unfortunately. So, and again, obviously my ruling tends to be 3-star or below, get rid of, but because this is in my favourite series, I will be keeping it, unfortunately. Unfortunately. I wish I didn't have to, but I'm doing it. Then we had a little streak of really good books here. We've got Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I read this for my followers recommend my reads, which is a video I posted I think last week as you're seeing this. So I didn't know what to expect going into this. I've had a rocky time with Abby Jimenez. I think I'd read 4 of her books by the time I got to this one, and 2 of those I gave like a 3-star, was mid, didn't really interest me, and the other 2 were like 4.75s. And I think maybe one was a 5-star, maybe a 4.75 and a 5-star. This surprised me so much. This is about Alexis, who is a doctor, and Daniel, who runs like a B&B kind of thing, and he's like a mayor of a small town. We love that, small town vibes. And they meet, hook up, the usual for a start of a romance book, and then they're kind of like, wow, this sucks because we live in different areas and our lives are so different that we just wouldn't work together. And then we get this book, and it's absolutely everything to me. This was another, what did I think of it? A 4.5, I think. I gave it a 4.5, but as you can see, I absolutely loved it. Highly recommend this book. If you haven't picked up Abby Jimenez for some reason, I would say start with this trilogy, interconnected standalone trilogy. Although character cameos from all of the other books that I've read by Abby Jimenez, which I loved. So highly recommend this. I'm beating a dead horse here. Everyone knows who Abby Jimenez is. Everyone knows to read her books. You get it. 4.5 stars. Then another absolutely shocking one to me. I can't remember who recommended this. Someone recommended for me to read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. And this I've been putting off for literally about a year or so now, since I got the physical copy. And I really wish I hadn't put it off because I fucking love this. I've watched the TV show. The TV show was good. The book was better. No one needs to be reminded that. We all think it. We all think it. But this, genuinely, the book was so much better. There was so much more detail and intricacy, and just had me, I needed to finish it. I needed to finish this book because I had to know what was going on, even though I've seen the TV show, so I know what's going on. But it was just so good. Obviously, this was a 5-star, and I cannot wait to dive into the next book. Absolutely love that. Then, possibly another controversial one. I DNF'd The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. 142 pages in, I DNF'd The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This book is huge for starters, so I think 150 pages is a good showing from me for a book I was not interested in the slightest. I don't know whether it was the writing style. The characters definitely didn't help. They were a bit nothingy to me, which is maybe the point, because obviously the whole premise is that Addie LaRue cannot be remembered by anyone. So maybe that's the point, that she was meant to be nothingy, but it just wasn't doing anything for me. It's a long book. I would have had to invest so much time in this, and I was feeling myself getting into a slump with this one, so I put it down, and I will be unhauling this one as well. Then I've only got 2 books left to talk about. I read Date with Destiny, which was recommended by my best friend, and I really liked this one as well. It was just like a fun, good time, you know? Just vibes, pure vibes. But this is about Ginny, who when she was 16 was given a set of predictions that would happen in 16 years time. So when she's 32, she turns 32, and then suddenly all these predictions start becoming realities. She thought it was a bunch of codswallop, but now she's like, I'm not so sure. Things are happening that line up with these predictions, but I'm not sold. So it's kind of following her, the whole year of her being 32 and all these things happening to her, the 3 losses and 3 gains that are predicted. And it was just really fun. If you haven't read a Lucy Vine book before, I've read this one and 7 X's, and I recommend them both. I think I would recommend this one slightly more. I think the premise of this one is slightly more interesting to me, but it was just fun, good times. And again, as I said, premise is so fun. I've not seen another book where there's like a set of predictions that are coming true in like a regular romance, not a fantasy. So I highly recommend this. I gave it a 4.25 stars. And finally, ending off on a bit of a rogue note for me, I actually read a manga because I've had it sat around since January this year, and I suddenly remembered that I own it, and I was like, I need to bump my reading numbers up for this month, and this is what I chose to do that with. I read what's even called Our Dating Story, The Experienced You and the Inexperienced Me. This is following high schoolers. It's a romance between a girl that is kind of known for dating a lot and a boy that has never had a girlfriend. And they kind of start dating, and like by talking to each other, they realise that both of their views on relationships are slightly, like, they've got faults. Like, she thinks she needs to do absolutely everything for her boyfriend and make sure that he's happy by sacrificing her own happiness. And this new guy is like, I don't think that's how that works. So, but it was really cute. I really enjoyed this, and I gave it a 4-star. And I will be continuing the series, which is going to be financially damaging because there are seven volumes in this. And I am, what am I thinking? I was going to say I'm going to buy them all, but I'm actually not. I bought volume 2. If I like volume 2, I will buy volume 3. I'm trying to be sensible because I don't want to buy the whole series and then not like it. But book 1, volume 1 was very fun, and I did enjoy it. So that is all of the books that I read in September. As previously mentioned, I read 11 books total, which is not great for me, but it's pretty good going anyway. I was just happy to hit double digits. I would say my favourite books of the month are obviously Atmosphere, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Are there any other 5 stars I gave? Kind of no. I'm completely lying. I've read 12 books this month. I didn't write down A Good Girl's Guide to Murder in my journal. That's embarrassing. I read 12 books. But my favourites: Atmosphere, Good Girl's Guide to Murder, Part of Your World, Date with Destiny. I think that's about it for this video. I feel like the ending is really anticlimactic. But if you have read any of these books, please do let me know what you think of them, either in the comments of this video, or you can find me on Instagram at Amy's Always Reading with a full stop between each word. And I will see you next week with another reading vlog.